Good evening. I'd like to call the Board of Trustees meeting to order on Tuesday, June 19th at approximately 6:05 p.m. In order for everyone to hear our discussion, would you please turn off or silence your cell phone? Would you please join me in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Baker.
Here.
Bell.
Here.
Berto.
Here.
Lino.
Here.
Duffy.
Here.
Zachny.
Here.
And Kanako is excused.
So we have 6, we have a quorum. Approval of the agenda.
So moved. I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the minutes as published.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes of the May 24th meeting.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on it? Changes, additions? deletions?
Page 5, line 35. I think there's just a typo, the sentence doesn't make sense. Approach the village about potential development there if her were to create lots.
Take
Yeah.
out that word.
Yep.
Anything else?
I'm trying to see if page 12 is in still the same minutes. Line 32.
Yeah, there's grammar there, yeah.
Yeah, grammar.
Yeah.
Got it?
I can see what I did wrong.
Okay.
Anything else? If not, all in favor of the corrected minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Comments and correspondence. Is there anybody in the audience who wants to make a comment about a non-agenda item? Correspondence.
Do you want me to read it or just kind of paraphrase it?
You can paraphrase it.
Okay. There's a letter included in the digital packets that have been received from Fay Blue concerning the noise from the reefers at E. Taylor. There's also a letter from Jeremy Ashour of the DOT inviting local officials to a meeting regarding the Highway 42 reconstruction project. That meeting is going to be held at 5 p.m. on Monday, June 25th at the Gibraltar Town Center. And then there was correspondence from Tom Sadler regarding the blight that several cedar trees on the southern end of Sister Bay have been experiencing. He had pictures of those trees with his letter.
I have one update since there was a letter in here concerning the E. Taylor piece. I will just remind everybody that I said I couldn't guarantee what they were doing. I could only tell you what I was told. I do know that since in the last week or 10 days, they have removed 2 of the 4. So they reduced it by 50%. And they continue to try and finalize the other 2 that are up at the pig. I spoke with him again yesterday.
And was Fay notified of that, or is she aware of that since she wrote her letter?
I don't know, I just found out yesterday.
Okay.
I know they'd taken one out last week, and they took one out the week before and one last week.
Okay,
I can call her.
okay.
So one is gone and more will be going?
2 are gone.
Okay.
2 are gone, and they're still working on one. Okay. Presentation of resolution number 387-461918, thanking and recognizing Steve Mann for his service as the facilities manager, marina manager for the Village of Sister Bay. Consider a motion for action if appropriate. I would like to make a motion that we approve resolution 387061918.
I'll second.
I would like to read it. Mr. Mann. An expression of thanks and appreciation to Steve. Whereas prior to his retirement on June 1st, 2018, Steve Mann served as the facilities manager for the Village of Sister Bay for 40 years, and also served as the manager of Sister Bay Marina for several of those years. And whereas during his tenure as a village employee, Steve oversaw the transformation of the Parks Department from a one-man operation to a fully functioning department with 4 full-time and up to 4 seasonal employees, and always made a point to see that all the tenants of the marina were provided excellent customer service. And whereas over the years, Steve spent countless hours plowing and blowing snow, mowing grass, making whatever repairs were needed, and generally ensuring that all village facilities and grounds were well-maintained and in pristine condition. And whereas Steve was instrumental in seeing that the village always had beautiful holiday displays. And whereas over the years, Steve worked tirelessly on countless village projects, including but not limited to the Marina Expansion Project, the Sports Complex Project, the Beach Expansion Project, the Bayshore Drive Reconstruction Project, the Electrical Line Burial Project, the Performance Pavilion Project, and his personal favorites, the creation of Zeke Peak and Lino Hill. And whereas, since he has retired, Steve will now have ample time to do lots of fishing, hunting, and boating. We could not be happier for him. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Sister Bay, assembled this 19th day of June 2018, in their own right and on behalf of all the citizens of the village, does hereby extend to Steve Mann our sincere thanks and appreciation for a job well done. We wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors. And we have a plaque for you, Steve. Can I do this?
Yeah.
Come forward and be on camera. So, here's a copy of the resolution. Signed by all the trustees. In addition to that, we have a plaque for you. Presented to Steve Mann, thank you for your 40 years of excellent service. Retirement is not an end, but rather a new beginning.
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody, the village board, for the opportunity to accomplish the things we have accomplished, not me, all of us. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Item number 2, administration of the oath of office to the newly appointed village clerk, Heidi Tech, and the newly appointed village treasurer, Tasha Rosh, by Janelle Sapans, interim administrator, deputy village clerk treasurer.
Okay, Heidi and Tasha, would you please rise and raise your right hands? Okay, we, the undersigned, who have been appointed to the office of village clerk with respect to Heidi and village treasurer with respect to Tasha, in and for the village of Sister Bay in said county, but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof, swear that we will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, and will faithfully discharge the duties of said offices to the best of our abilities, so help me God.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations and thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Before we go into all the liquor licenses, which will take a while, I want to skip down to item number 4. We vote on ordinance number 251. We are going to table that item. It will not be voted on tonight because we are missing one of the board members. And we want to make sure we have a full board when we do this revote.
Okay.
Item number 3, review of requests from local businesses for granting of various licenses for liquor, soda, and tobacco, as well as requests for operating licenses. Consider motions for action if appropriate. So I'm going to recuse myself.
So am I.
I'm going to ask Mr. Duffy, you would facilitate the rest of the meeting?
At least item number 3.
I was hoping.
Okay, this is the item number 3, review of the request from local businesses for granting various licenses for liquor, soda, and tobacco. It says here, a large amount of documentation pertaining to the applicants is submitted in our meetings packets, and all the applicants have passed their fire inspections and submitted drawings of the premises to be covered, if applicable, as well as outside seating, and beer gardens have been delineated. So, now, the rest of this is coming from last year's meeting here, Dave.
Yeah, it is, that just tells
Oh,
you
that's
what
just it?
order you take them
All
in.
right.
So you just do it in the order that it is on there. So like if it's soda licenses or whatever
Okay.
comes first.
Okay, so Class A beer and liquor license, well, no, this is saying a motion was made,
Now, the layout that I provided in the meeting packet may not lend itself so well to that outcome.
Jackson
Okay.
complied
Okay.
with Lino's
Okay,
request.
so you want to read all the names of the businesses for Class A beer and B, all these licenses, you want to read them aloud?
Okay,
And then,
okay, so these are applications for Class A beer and liquor licenses, Class B beer and liquor licenses, Special B licenses, 300 seat B license, Class A beer license, Class B beer and Class C wine licenses have been submitted aloud.
so then you go to the packets, and
Okay,
page 23.
And I did them all in alphabetical order.
okay, so I'm reading each and every one of these?
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay, so Class B beer and C wine, Al Johnson's, Agent Lars Johnson. Okay. Then we've got Class B beer and C wine, Bay Ridge Golf Course, Diana Trenchard. Class B beer and Class B liquor, Boathouse on the Bay, Timothy Cross. Class B beer and B liquor, Chop LLC, Ben Ehlers. Class B beer and C wine, Chop, Ben Ehlers, well, as Pastavino. So we've got Chop and Pastavino, two separate, Ben Ehlers, same agent. Class B beer and C wine, Churchill Inn, Michael Goldstone. Class B beer and C wine, Cross Management, doing business as Open Hearth, John Zajac. Class B beer and C wine, Door County Creamery, Jesse Johnson. Class A beer, Door County Ventures, DBA Sister Bay Mobile, David Leno. Class B beer and C wine, Drink Coffee, Rachel Lohman. Class A beer, Class A liquor, Firefly Outfitters, Colin Dahl. Class A beer, Class A license, Top Shelf Gourmet, John Sturbelich. Cyberlick, thank you. Class B beer and C wine, Grassy's Grill, James Grassy. Class B beer and B liquor, Husby's, John Sawyer. Class B beer and B liquor, LEW Group, DBA Lure, Ben Ehlers. B beer and B liquor, Little Sister Resort, DBA Fred and Fuzzy's, Waterfront Bar and Grill, Greg Sundstrom. B beer, McAvoy's Culinaria, Scott McAvoy. B beer and C wine, Northern Grill and Lodging, Ron McDonald. Class A beer and A liquor is Piggly Wiggly, Thomas and Daniel Nesbitt. Class A beer and A liquor, Raylin Industries, DBA Birdo's by the Bay, Denise Birdo. Class B beer and C wine, Roots Inn and Kitchen, Sarah Doherty. Class A beer and A liquor, Shopco, Michael Pride. B beer and B liquor, Sister Bay Bowl, Penny Anschutz. Class B beer and C wine, Sister Bay Inn, Alma. That's what he said. Class A beer, Voigt Enterprises. The Country Walk BP is Dennis Voigt. Class B beer and C wine, Wild Tomato, John Unkefer. Then we go into operators. That's it for that one? All right.
Question?
What is the
What-
lead agent approval?
What is
So-
that asterisk?
When the renewals came in this year, there has been a change of agent for both Shopco and for Oh, and Open Hearth, because it's a new liquor license this year, they hadn't had one in the past, so you need to approve those agents. So they've had to submit additional paperwork.
Okay.
Okay.
Upon approval, I'll get a signature on the piece of paper here.
Okay, so we're looking for a motion and a second and approval on what we just read?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
So now you want to go to page 25 of your Zoom and read all of them.
Take a
Okay.
drink of water if you'd like.
Okay, so this is the 2018 operator applications. So for Al Johnson's, we have Jamie Blossom, Annika Johnson, Bjorn Johnson, and Lars Johnson. For Analog, we have Rachel and Scott Willman. For Birdos by the Bay, we have Elijah Barkey, Michelle Berto-Pluff, Andrea Erickson, Lisa Graby, and Ken Haskell. For Boathouse on the Bay, we have Daniel Eggert, Eric Ostich, Al Higginbotham, Zach Higginbotham, Mike Dobner, Mike Jedd, Carol Jedd, Adele Steebs, Kali Johnson, and Curtis Sandmeyer. For Churchill Inn, we have Michael Goldstone, Country Walk BP, Alicia Domke, Carl Heine, Sherry Letty, Gary Miller, and John Voigt. Door County Creamery is Sarah Kohler. Firefly Outfitters, Colin and Jennifer Dahl. Fred and Fuzzies, Greg Sundstrom, to be named, to be named, to be named. Grassy's Grill is Catherine Leroy and Jessica Grassy. Husby's is Abby Dobler, Chris Janessi, Chad Kadanko, Stephanie LaHaye, James Larson, Brandon Maloney, Joe Radovich, okay, Paige Simpson, and Matt Stone. Lure is Nicole Termini. Lure Chop is Elise Freeman. McAvoy's Culinaria is Scott McAvoy. Northern Grill is Chris Clark. Piggly Wiggly is Shelby Becker. Emily Johnson, Heike Taverner, Rosetta Wiltzgen, Dolly Zahn, and Sandra Zock. Roots Inn and Kitchen is Colin Doherty. Sister Bay Bowl is Paula Ann Schultz, Penny Ann Schultz, Samantha Eckert, Jason Rockwell, Brian Solms, Jeff Thundarner, and Gary Willems. Sister Bay Liberty Grove Firefighters is Anastasia Bell. Sister Bay Lions is Leroy Schramm. Sister Bay Mobile is Tatiana Blitch, Tamara Jones, and Arena Schweiz. Then we've got Wild Tomato Beerzot is Rachel Sire. And that is it for that list.
Make a motion from anyone?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And then that should be it.
Well, I need a motion yet on the soda and cigarette
Oh,
licenses.
okay. Do you
So
have a
if you
list for
Go
them?
back to page 22, where it was that overview. All
Okay,
of those same businesses who requested a liquor license are highlighted in blue for soda licenses.
yep,
With the addition of the Sister Bay Liberty Grove Firefighters Association, because they have soda machines in the village.
okay,
And then Fish Creek Scenic Boat Tours has requested a soda license. Green Bay 7-Up Bottling Company, who has machines at Johnson Park and the Marina, have requested soda licenses. And Pirates Cove, Door County.
okay. And this list is inclusive of everybody that I read, with the exception of Firefly Outfitters. Does that suffice for reading, if it's the same group other than with Heidi's additions?
Yes.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to approve the soda licenses for everyone.
I'll make that motion for the soda licenses.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So then you just have tobacco.
Okay. And tobacco, we'll read those, there's not as many. Okay, so tobacco, we have Door County Ventures, DBA Sister Bay Mobile. We have Fourth Coast, DBA Top Shelf Gourmet. We have Piggly Wiggly, Birdos by the Bay, and Country Walk BP are the only ones I see highlighted in yellow.
That's it.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, now do we need a motion on the two new agents?
Unless you wanted to include them in your motion when you approved everyone else, that would be fine.
If that's how you have the minutes, that works for me. Everybody else? Okay. We'll amend the motion and the second to include the new operators on that motion.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for item 3?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Personally, I would prefer to hear the list of the cigarette and soda licenses read, but
Oh.
Is that how you would have done it, Dave?
no.
That's why he's paid the big bucks.
Okay, item 5. Discussion regarding, thank you, Patrick.
You're welcome.
Discussion regarding the recommendation of the Plan Commission that the draft development agreement between the Village of Sister Bay and Vesta Del for the construction of 9-unit inn/cafe on the property located at 2322 Mill Road be approved. Consider motion for action if appropriate.
Okay, a draft of the development agreement for Gustavo's Inn has been included in the packets. The Plan Commission has recommended that it be approved. There was a letter that was provided to you prior to the meeting from Burge Temme. She's asking that exterior construction be allowed a little further. She'd like to go, well, Burge is here, why don't I let her explain? That would be easier.
Well, unfortunately, with the crazy weather we had this winter, everyone's schedule is snowballing, and it's hitting siding contractors the worst. We will have all the framing construction completed by next Monday or Tuesday. That's not an issue. After that's completed, only then can we order the metal roofing material. That'll take 2 weeks to get, it'll take about 2 weeks to install. We're going to start at the front of the building and work our way back. So hopefully that'll be done by July 15th. My real challenge is siding right now. And
because of the weather this winter, all the Door County siding contractors are loaded. And the earliest anyone could get in there is the latter part of July. I'm meeting with some contractors from Green Bay on Friday, and hopefully they can start earlier. But I'd like your permission to continue so this building doesn't sit there without siding on it. I'd like permission for at least us to side the entire west side of the building, which faces the Mill Road Gallery, you know, just so they don't have any further disruption. And then the front of the building and at least part of the east side, so we can get the cafe finished up. And hopefully that won't take beyond the end of July, but it might. And that will not be heavy equipment. That will be, you know, just carpenters installing. And I have been into the Mill Road Gallery. I've talked to Tom and Bridget, and they're comfortable with our continuing as long as we do their side first so they don't have any noise disruption. And I've been in the gallery when workers have been nailing with this framing, and you can't hear any noise inside their gallery except for the, you know, the loud beeps of the crane that's working right now. So I'm hoping if we go beyond July 15th that would be acceptable.
Do you think you need to go all the way to the Fall Fest weekend?
Oh, no, not at all.
If I'm reading it here, that's what you're requesting? Or am I reading it wrong?
No, I think you're reading it wrong.
Okay.
The blackout date is from June 30th through after the Fall Festival. And, you know, we'll be done,
Yes, that's the blackout.
yeah. Hopefully,
So
we'll,
you would like it July 30th to Fall Festival, the blackout, Verge?
I think we should be done by then with the exterior. I'll know for sure by this Friday.
I'm waiting to hear from the plan commission people, so. what your
The
comments are.
provision that you're looking at is on page 109. It's way at the bottom, number 2.
You know, we have made every consideration to not cause any hardship on, you know, comfort in the neighborhood, tourist traffic, all the trades that are working on the project are parking on the lot or a couple blocks down, you know, so we're not impeding any traffic for this construction.
I guess I'm a little confused about why it was the 15th, because I believe at Plan Commission, it was supposed to get pushed up to here for the date, and the standard date would have been June 30th, correct?
At the plan commission, it finally was July 15th, because Birch had asked for a little longer.
Because I'm looking at this, and so what, based on this, you're asking for an extra 2 weeks, not an extra month.
Originally, it was June 30th, but then the plan commission had granted the extension to the 15th.
Am I remembering that wrong? Because I could have swore you said that we should pass this to the board without putting a recommendation on it.
Right, like we did the other ones.
Yeah,
That's
so,
what I thought I read and remember in the minutes of the Plan Commission from last
Okay,
month.
maybe I interpreted it wrong.
I'd like to say I like this project. I like the work you've done, but I'm leery of extending this date out for everyone, which is, it seems what it could be coming to.
It's what it's turned into.
So this date no longer has meaning. And if I hear you, you're asking to have it extended out until you get done.
No, no,
Not,
no.
because I believe.
No,
it's-
I just want to get the west side, you know, I would not go any further than July 30th, regardless of what we get done. But with that, I at least want to get the west side and the south side facing the road, and then the east side of the cafe finished up.
Okay. Did you get a letter from Tom? Because I think that was requested at the Plan Commission meeting.
Oh, they said it would be advisable, but
Yeah, okay.
I've been meeting with Tom and Bridget every day on, you know, meeting with them, giving them updates on the plans and the process, the progress. I'm going out and trimming trees for them tomorrow
Sure.
that are kind of overhanging their property, or overhanging Gustavo's property.
Is there a way we can incentivize them to get done sooner? And put some cost on this, so it's so much per day? Not to make it too much, but make it enough so so it's only gonna go on as long as it has to. You say it's $100 a day for every day you go beyond that. If it goes for the whole month, then that's a significant amount of money, but it still would let you keep going.
Well, it's either that or the building sits unfinished and sits there with house wrap on it for the summer. And if it sits there with house wrap on it, I don't believe we can get a building permit, which means that it would create a hardship for the cafe, which wants to open by Labor Day. And, you know, had we known, had we been informed back in January rather than in March that there was this blackout, we weren't aware of it until the meeting at the last week of March about this blackout. Had we known back in January when we first approached, then it's possible that we could have lined up the people that we needed to. But, you know, a 2.5 month delay is a 2.5-month delay in scheduling people.
So you found out about this when you got the first draft development agreement? Is that when you were aware of it?
No, it was when the design was approved on the March 28th meeting.
Okay, so that's when the first conversation about the development
Right,
agreement was.
and we had, the very next day, I was on the phone with all my subs, and we actually got this entire project moved up 2 weeks from what it was initially scheduled to start.
Sure.
And I have to confess, I'm gonna be helping dig a 50-foot-long trench in gravel in a 4-foot crawl space because the plumbers did not have enough time to run the sewer pipe through. And so that is what,
That is your commitment to the.
it is my commitment. And so I'm asking for, you know, the village's lenience on this because we were not informed early enough to make the arrangements for everyone to be through. You know, it was a shock on March 28th or whenever that was, whatever that specific date was, that there was going to be this blackout period.
Okay.
And the very next day, like I say, we were on the phone with all our subs, having powwows, trying to figure out how we can move this whole thing up.
Sure.
I was not at last month's meeting, but what did you do with the other two development agreements?
Those are referred to parks, so they haven't been finalized.
No, but for the time frame, that was just where they were gonna park, right?
And the time frame.
And the time frame?
Yeah.
Wasn't
Wasn't
the
the chat
construction for the
timeframe,
hotel
right?
moved up till September?
We didn't proceed with it at Parks because Chris was not there.
Was not there. Okay, I thought we were just dealing with where they're gonna park the equipment, but it's also the dates.
Yeah.
But didn't we come to an agreement
Well-
for the CHOP situation? Of September through?
I thought that we approved, but
Yeah.
the board approved it and passed it on to Parks for
Yeah.
approval of the location of the equipment. was
Yes.
What I understood.
Yes,
But then the
We approved the
board said that
timeline.
The time frame would also be addressed by parks.
no,
That's not what the minutes say, I don't think.
we approved the time frame.
I thought one, we approved the time frame. One,
We
the
did.
second project was asking for also, and that, I thought that one got passed to Parks
Yeah.
to say,
That's the one that got
if we
passed.
can figure out the parking, and
Yeah.
if Planning or Parks felt like there's a workable solution, they may be granted something.
So
Yeah.
then,
The one was, I think, June 30th or something like that.
it couldn't be, that's the normal date,
Yes,
though.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave, you had your calendar out and you finalized the agreement, and it's in here, it's in here somewhere, just to find it. We gave them Monday through Thursday, September 4th through
Yeah, it was
October
after
1st,
Labor
something
Day,
like
but
that.
before Pumpkin
Right, that was,
Patch.
right, that was
For
for
CHOP,
CHOP.
right.
Yep.
So if, to Nate's point about, you know, getting to some standardization, or, you know, the fact that the date's, you know, losing its meaning if things keep changing, if we've already got one instance of where we agreed for this particular case, that kind of a time frame, would it be possible to consider that same time frame which we agreed to for one of the other businesses in good standing for this situation, if that would be workable? You know,
So are you suggesting the additional time or not the additional time?
I'm suggesting that if the original date would be okay, but if they can't get done by then, if they were allowed to work from Monday through Thursday, the same as CHOP is going to be doing, right, virtually in the same area, you know, in that Monday through Thursday pattern, September, or whichever the dates were as we have them, would that be something?
Okay, but she.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I suggested
work.
in the letter too, that we'd be happy to work just Monday through Thursday.
I'm just saying, I'm just wondering if that, you know, rather than the whole, can it all come together by July 15th? Can it not? What if it's this? What if it's that? Rather than having you walk out saying, well, gosh, if it's not that, I'm paying this and that.
Yeah.
What if we just left it the original development agreement timeframe exclusion, but included in there, if, you know, from September, the same as CHOP has, from September, whatever.
That's not what she's asking.
She's not asking.
She's asking for
I'm asking
July
for the earlier
15th
part of the
to July
summer rather
30th.
than the later part of the
I'm
summer.
not going past that.
I understand all that, and I understand the rationale for you know, not wanting to have the building wrapped up. So I'm just trying to clarify if they're adamant about that not working, because if they were okay with that and somehow that would work, then in essence, we would not be creating a second new type of change. We would, in essence, be using the same change we already agreed to for another business.
So
That's
if you
all.
look at the minutes from the last meeting on page 9, what Chris Schmelz, he left it at June 30th. But he said specifically he was looking for permission to continue to work Mondays through Thursdays, beginning the Tuesday after Labor Day, which is September 4th, and concluding the Wednesday before Pumpkin Patch. So that was for the fall.
Right.
But the completion, the blackout date was still June 30th.
Right.
I agree with Nate that these dates become erroneous. I also think that, in my opinion, it is more important if you have talked to the neighbors, the Seagards, and they're okay with it, that it's more important to get the buildings covered in their exterior rather than looking at something for how many months just with wrap. If they're able to open up the cafe by Labor Day and have a viable business in that time frame, I'm willing to give them the end of the month. I know what you're saying. I agree with it, Nate, but
I think there's one really big difference between this and the 2 other properties. It's
Okay.
not on Bay Shore Drive.
yeah,
That is a huge difference.
Right.
From there. Also understanding that she just found out about this, I don't know if we could have communicated that to her more clearly.
Right.
So she had an idea, but finding out in March, the end of March, and then saying you've got 90 days to make this happen. Well, 120 days to make it happen, it's a little tight, and I can appreciate that because I was planning on moving offices last month, and I hear all of the issues she's having, and I know it's very real in Door County. There's,
Well, in just the last 3 days of the torrential downpours, no one's been able to work. So that's delayed everyone another 3 days.
I always believe that we should do whatever we can to facilitate projects that are going on in the village that are reasonable, and that can be done in a proper amount of time. So for the additional, it's an additional 2 weeks basically. For the additional 2 weeks, given the type of work that it is, I don't have a problem with it.
I would say it's an additional month, but I
Well-
agree with you. But because that date of the development agreement should be June 30th there.
right, right.
But I agree with what you're saying. Give it
Okay,
to
it
July
should be,
31st.
all right, I'm just going by what's here. It says July 15th.
Right.
I understand
But
that,
the
I'm
planning
just-
commission did not come up.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
That was
The packet that I
suggested.
got for tonight's meeting said
Yes,
July 15th.
yes.
So,
Correct.
But for anybody else that's listening to that, our standard development agreement says June 30th.
And maybe, I don't know, somehow the plan commission or, not to lay it more on office staff, but when people first start coming in and thinking about a project, maybe we just need to be really more diligent about, depending upon where your project is, there is a blackout date for.
And I do that now.
Okay,
depending
you
on
do that
projects.
now, okay,
Dig our
all right,
heels in.
very good. Well, I will make a motion to approve the development agreement and allowing them to work until July 31st,
Should we put the day restriction that was on Chris's?
and Monday through Thursday?
Meaning after
From-
June 30th,
Right,
Monday through
right.
Thursday.
Yes, for the month of July, Monday through Thursday.
What was our start time on that?
I don't think we differed with the, I think the start time was the
I
same.
don't know that it was different.
No, it was the same
Pretty
start time.
standard.
It was just Monday through Thursday. Okay, now there's a
Same start and
couple-
end time.
Okay.
Oh, that's right, and there's also a blank for
There's-
the
yeah.
completion date that has to be filled in.
Yeah.
Oh, is that for building
On
1 or
page
building 2, both of the buildings?
104. Where
For
you have to-
everything.
For everything.
Where you're talking about the minimum assessed value payments. So that further, if any of the buildings are not constructed prior to blank, minimum assessed value payments will come into play, so we need a date for that.
I think we could say May 1st of next year, that everything should be finished.
That's reasonable.
Okay, so May 1st of 2019. And then there's one other one.
Line 25 on 105.
Yeah, that's the date we just got.
There's also a date on page 104.
Yeah, there are two blanks about timing.
Yeah.
So one is when the entire project will be completed, and the other is when minimum assessed value payments will be assessed. But you think everything can be wrapped up and done by May 1st?
I think so.
Okay. So is that okay for both dates? Okay. So that should be it then.
Okay, so you've amended your motion to include the changes in the
Sure, I
additions.
have.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Just so that you know,
Thank you.
Rich, then what will happen is, once those revisions are made, I'll give you a call, and Gustavo can come in and sign it, and we'll be good to go.
Sounds great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody got an extra shovel, want a nice workout? Like 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Item 6, discussion regarding a recommendation from the Water, Sewer Collection and Storm Sewer Committee that the water system impact fee be used for the well station number 1 upgrades. Consider a motion for action if appropriate.
Ed, do you want to explain what the committee did, or do you want me to?
Well, so we have developed impact fees for water improvement throughout the village. And as we reflected the project, it made sense, the recommendation from our finance director, to use the funds in of those impact fees, as this is an improvement to the water system, right?
Yes,
That's it.
yes. The water system and related improvements impact fee is actually defined as water system and related improvements, potentially including but not limited to a water tower, cistern, wells, pumps, pipes, or other water infrastructure that would be deemed necessary by the village board of trustees to improve the water system. The well number 1 main lift station project upgrade will be upgrades to generators and fuel storage, upgrades to electrical, alarm systems, chemical systems, and safety equipment, among a number of other improvements and upgrades. So I think this absolutely qualifies as an upgrade and would fall under this impact fee. As of 5/31/18, there was $99,077.07 in the water system impact fee fund. This is separate from funds reserved for the water tower or any other impact fee. This is specifically the water system improvement impact fees. By using these funds, it would allow the water fund to retain other reserve funds for future projects. There's approximately $372,000 in the water replacement reserve fund at this time. So, this isn't any more or any more money for the utility, but it gives us another funding source. When I think about the use of impact fees, there are only so many projects that can apply for the use of impact fees. Our replacement fund fees, though, are much more broad. And so it's easier to use those replacement fund fees and harder to use the impact fees. And I think this absolutely makes sense to use these funds at this time for this upgrade project.
So, clarify for me, where did these monies come from?
The impact fees are charged to new customers of the village or to those who expand the number of utility fixtures. So if you put a large addition on or you build a hotel, for each fixture unit, you're charged a fee under the impact fees.
And is there a time limit on when they have to be used by?
There is a time limit. They have to be used within 10 years of collection. So collection on these started in 2008. The first fees were collected then, right, but not until later in 2008. And then no more were collected until 2010. So, and we have to,
They roll forward based on when you collected them?
what was that?
They roll forward based on when you
They
collected them?
do roll
That-
forward.
That 10-year period of time?
That 10-year period of time continues to roll forward, so if we didn't use these, we would refund the 2008, and then, wait until we use them again or whatever. We can continue to collect until 2026 for other water system improvement impact fees, so.
So based on that sliding scale, dollars moving forward based on when they were collected, how much will this project move that scale forward to where we're at?
This project, the water system would use all of that $99,077.07.
So the clock would start over.
The clock would start over for, yeah.
And then places like the new hotel and these other projects will start to replenish
Yes. Mhm.
those
Yeah,
funds
and
in
it
the
goes
next
by
year or
date
so.
paid. It's by date paid, it's not by project date or anything like that, so.
Is there, how much will have to be paid out of the other accounts, or is that roughly equivalent?
The water system side of this project, off the top of my head, I think is around $270,000. So, this takes out about $100,000.
We'd already approved that, the funding for that?
We already approved the funding for that to come from the replacement funds, or to come from within the utility, so.
Utilities director is for this too?
What was that?
The utilities director is also for this?
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, this went to our utilities meeting and a
Yes.
recommendation was made for board approval to carry out the recommendation.
I'll make a motion that the impact fees that the village has collected related to water system improvements be used for the upgrades to well number 1.
Second?
Other questions or comments? All in
Good
favor?
catch.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Tasha.
Excellent, Tasha.
Discussion regarding payment for the purchase of a brush truck and a port account for the Sister Bay Liberty Grove Fire Department. Consider motion for action if appropriate.
There's a board report in here, and Tasha will explain it.
I am recommending that we approve this at this meeting with a motion of a cost of no more than $50,000 for the brush truck and a cost of no more than $5,000 for the port account machine. I do not have the final invoice from the fire department. They haven't received the, I can't remember if it's the body or the chassis that was being done second for the brush truck. But they haven't received that invoice yet. So we don't know exactly what the final number will be, but we know it will be no more than $150,000 in total, of which the village pays $50,000, one-third of that.
1/3.
The capital fund has a reserve fund balance of $90,000 for the fire department capital needs at this time, so we have enough to cover this payment. It would leave us with approximately $35,000 in that reserve fund. And this way, when the invoice comes in, we can just pay it, we don't have to wait for board approval, and then we're able to reimburse the fire department.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 8, discussion of village bylaws, confirmation of President Leo's recommended appointments. Have no changes to the bylaws tonight, but we have 2 recommendations for appointments. If you recall, at our last meeting, we had a member vacancy on the Plan Commission, which was Mary Kay Shumway. I have not had a chance to talk to her yet, and I've subsequently been able to talk to her, and she would like to accept the reappointment to the Plan Commission. I conferred with the Plan Commission Chair. She agreed that that would be fine. So my recommendation for appointment is to reappoint Mary Kay Shumway to the Plan Commission for the next cycle. That would be number 1. Number 2, we're going to do some shuffling on the Personnel Committee and discussions with Rob and Denise and Pat. Given what's going on with our administrative administrator rundown and a couple other things personnel-wise. What we're going to do is remove Rob from the committee for the time being, and we will find another appointment for Rob and replace Rob with myself on the personnel committee. So the personnel committee would be comprised of Patrick, Denise, and myself for the next foreseeable future. So that would be my recommendation.
It's the same as the search committee?
Yes. Right. That's kind of how it came
Yeah.
together, right? So that would be my recommendation. Somebody would have to make a motion for that. I can't make the motion.
I'll make a motion about the personnel committee.
I'll second.
Would you include the plan commission appointment?
I chose my words.
Got it. Okay. All right. Any discussion on the personnel committee makeup? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, we will need something for the plan commission.
I'll make a motion that we reappoint Mary Kay Shumway to the Plan Commission.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Reporting county activities from County Supervisor Dave Lino. No real report since last month when we did the White House visit. Our county board meeting is until next week, because it falls a little bit later this month because of the number of Tuesdays in month. Unless you have any questions or something you've heard about the county. Item 10, review the financial statements and consideration of a motion to approve monthly bills.
I'll make a motion that we pay the monthly bills of $446,428.04.
Second.
Discussion?
Page 142, the last line, Door County Economic Development, I presume, Door County Housing Study.
This was an item that had been budgeted for specifically for the housing study. that we
Okay, I couldn't remember,
participated in.
that was my question, if it was in our budget,
Yep.
okay. And then I did, on page 145, I had a question pertaining to Pinkert's bill, and it stated that for pre-3 development agreement, I asked Tasha if she knew just tonight here, not when she was in the office, you know, it just seems like month after month, we keep getting these bills on this development agreement, and asked her what the total was. She cannot access that information here tonight, but was going to get back to me. Because if everybody remembers, moving forward, we are no longer going to allow the village to pay the attorney bills when a developer or their attorney wants to talk directly to the village's attorney.
Okay.
Those are my only questions.
Anybody else?
I have nothing.
I just want to make one comment back on page 142. Third item down, Bell Pyrotechnics Incorporate, fireworks, July Festival, that fireworks, July Festival is also the January 1st fireworks. So that dollar amount covers both.
Okay. So,
Any other questions or comments from anybody? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 11, report by the village administrator on village activities and projects. Janelle?
Okay, well, what's been taking a lot of time are working on the development agreements. A draft of the development agreement for the Goki Schmeltz Bay Shore Drive condo hotel project has been prepared. But Chris Schmeltz and Al Goki requested that prior to the time that the agreement be approved, village officials give them some direction with respect to construction site fencing and designate locations for construction vehicles to be parked. As we said earlier, the matter was referred to the Parks Committee, and that's going to be fully addressed on July 2nd. Last Friday, Sarah Anderson met with Denise and Mike Skell and I. We worked on some more revisions to the development agreement for her project, and we anticipate that a draft of that document will be addressed at next week's Plan Commission meeting. The pre-3 development agreement is still kind of in the draft stage. Both the village attorney and Attorney Joe Goldberger are working on revisions they would like to see made to it. Zoning and building permits were issued for Gustavo Gallardo's Inn, and construction, like Rich said, has commenced. The development agreement was included in the board packets, and you just approved that. Chris Schmeltz of Hako Management did submit the landscaping, lighting, and utilities plans for the boutique hotel he intends to construct on the Sister Bay Marketplace property, and therefore I've started to work on the related development agreement for that. It's kind of a complex document, so I'll get it to you guys as soon as it's completed. Freedom Fest is going to be conducted on Saturday, July 7th. The Sister Bay Lions will again be selling brats, burgers, and beverages in the park. And the kids will have an opportunity to play on bouncy houses, a rock climbing wall, and water balls. Thanks to the generosity of the owners of Chop, Laura, and Pasta Vino, there will again be a fantastic fireworks display at dusk, and Dave is going to be working on that. It is possible that the bouncy houses and the other stuff for the kids will be in the park on Sunday, July 8th as well. As long as he's coming up here, it just made sense to leave the things up, and he'll just kind of play it by ear as to how long he stays there. The annual Summer Shredding Appliance Recycling Day will be conducted at the Liberty Grove Town Hall on this coming Saturday, June 23rd, from 9 to 1. So anybody that's got anything is encouraged to bring their items.
Can I make a request
Sure.
pertaining to that event? I know that you or office staff, print out things, distribute them throughout the community, and you laminate them, which is not recyclable.
Okay, don't laminate
Can you
them in?
not laminate them?
Sure. We can do that. The one thing we have had a request for, and I bet you I've gotten requests from 5 or 6 different people, is if we could somehow or other incorporate medication recycling or medication disposal into that day. There's a lot of people that don't really know what to do with their old
I have
meds.
bags of it at home waiting to
Yeah.
do something with it.
Isn't that operated by the sheriff's department at the
I
county
thought
level?
so too.
Well, we
Sheriff.
had one here quite a few years ago, where you
Right,
just
right,
drove
in
through the
conjunction
bay
with
of
that,
the
right.
Yeah, they have a, it depends if they can get a grant for it or not. And I had called up to Aurora to see if they would possibly take it, they don't. They said that most municipalities conduct it. So I guess we could look into grant opportunities.
What would
How
exactly
about
we
if we
need?
send a request up to the county to see if they could broaden their sheriff's department collection
Oh,
Yeah.
that would work.
Yep.
to base it out of, other than just Sturgeon Bay?
Okay.
So up the northern side or southern side?
Yeah.
Right, and if we incorporate it into this every year, which is already being manned,
Yeah, I could ask them if they
Good idea.
can.
that was a great idea.
I have cabinets full. Not me, my wife has cabinets full.
Okay, so I will call them and ask them. George, and I'm gonna butcher his name, I'm sorry. How do you say it?
Texar.
How about George, the IT guy?
Right.
Yeah, there we go.
Georgie.
He's continuing to work on the IT upgrades. Most of you, I think, have had your tablets upgraded or had them changed so that the emails will work. But that was the highest priority for him, and he is working on that diligently. We have begun to receive new PCs, and it's amazing because the new PC is about this wide, like that. It's just tiny, tiny, tiny. It's kind of cute. The hiring committee is continuing to work on hiring an administrator, and further information will be provided as soon as it's available. As Dave had said earlier, Steve Mann retired on June 1st. His retirement party was conducted out at the Sports Complex Pavilion and was very nice. I'd personally like to thank Steve for all his efforts on behalf of everyone in the village and publicly state that I miss him a lot. So that's it.
You want to speak, anybody want to speak to the facilities manager's report? We don't normally take comments, but go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just add to the recycling thing. I remember a few years ago, village used to, did the recycle thing for collecting the paint cans. And people came into the fire department and dropped the used paint cans.
That's clean sweep, that was also through the county.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that could be done sometime, because I assume many people did remodelings and they have empty cans laying around and you cannot throw them into the garbage container.
But
Only non-latex. Latex, if you open the can
Yeah.
and put shredded paper in there, that it hardens
or kitty
the
litter,
material, or kitty litter, then that's acceptable in normal trash pickup.
right.
Okay.
And you can take it out to going after that, and it's just considered normal trash.
Yep, only latex, but a lot of general,
Yeah.
especially interior and even some exterior is latex, and that's all fine.
It's just that your oil bases, right?
Right, right.
Kitty litter, huh?
Kitty litter, yeah.
Yep.
For those
I just
ladies.
put mine in the furnace room down at Birdo's. It's like 120 degrees in there. 2 weeks, it just dries all up.
That's why the walls are a little pink?
Okay, facility manager's report. Any questions on it?
No?
Marina manager report? Anything you want, anybody from Marina Committee wants to say?
Not in particular. I guess if somebody had a question.
I just have one quick question.
Okay.
When you guys
Sorry,
say,
no questions.
it says there's 301 transient reservations on the books thus far for the 2018 season. Do we know what type of a percent increase that is over last year?
Yeah, not off the top of my head. I do know it is an increase, both in the number of reservations and the length of reservations the last time that she gathered that information. But I can't tell you exactly how much. As of a month ago, I want to say we were up like 20% or so.
Maybe next time we could get the
I can request that.
something on it. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, so if that's the end of the reports, we're gonna move down to committees. We'll do the closed session last. Administrative has not met. Admin cap oversight has not met. Common technology has not met, but met before. Common technology continues to move forward. That's why we have George, the IT guy.
Where is George, the IT guy, from?
Fish Creek.
Okay.
Actually, I think he's Bulgaria, if you want.
At NASA.
No, Fish Creek was the answer I was looking for.
Okay, I'll just.
It's from at NASA.
Coastal byways.
I don't think anybody met that.
No.
Economic development, I'm sorry, DCEC.
There was a meeting this week at the house they completed.
Oh, cool.
Economic development. Not met. Finance,
Hasn't met.
fire,
We were due to meet this morning, but was canceled, and nothing on the fire district.
historical society.
Here I go again. We met on Thursday, the 7th of June, basically a regular meeting, rather lengthy discussion on fundraising options for the new barn that they're planning. Annual meeting is on the 27th of this month, June. Potluck at 5:30. They have planned a garden walk for this year again, and that's pretty much it.
Question? Holiday lighting has not met. Library commission.
I was not able to go to the meeting itself. I did meet with Ralph Blankenberg for an hour and a half this morning, covered the whole meeting. That's accurately reflected in the packet. Also, I would say that Ralph, he's very knowledgeable and runs a good ship over there. Christina, the librarian, is a real winner. Very impressed with everything she's doing there. The two things I would mention is, in particular, Ralph wanted the board to be aware that the commission's awaiting a bid from Action Electric on changing the emergency lighting system There's parts no longer available. There's bulbs and sensors that are out of service. He said it's not gonna be an urgent issue until autumn when it starts getting dark earlier, but, you know, once Action Electric can fit it into the schedule, that's coming. The other thing I wanted to mention was, he stressed very clearly how they've been very much wanting to increase the hours of operation, which makes sense to me. It was I didn't even have to bring it up, it was the main thing I had on my list to talk to him about in meeting him and whatnot, just to try and get a handle on why such limited hours. In particular, they're very pleased with the new county library director, that she's very positive about everything the commission's, you know, offering to do, including giving some money from donations to cover staffing if necessary. The one thing he mentioned to me was that, I said, you know, why have you ever raised this to the county level? In the past, to Dave Leno, you know, he's the county supervisor, and he said they were fearful of doing it because the old library director made it clear to him that there would be trouble if they went over her head. I encouraged him to say, you know, it's a new dawn, look at it as a new dawn. I said, I don't think that Dave would ever, you know, discourage anyone from bringing something to his attention, and so that was a good takeaway from there.
No, I would never discourage somebody.
Right.
Might not get the answer they want, but we'll try. Okay, thanks, Rob. Marina and Marina Fest.
Minutes are in the packet. Marina's chugging along. It's a little cool June, but reservations are doing okay, so good so far.
And Marina Fest meets on July 12th, a Thursday. That'll be our next meeting.
Parks, Property, and Streets. Minutes are in there, rather lengthy.
When is the next meeting when is the meeting that will address the dates on the project?
That depends upon when Chris Schmeltz can be available.
They're
So-
scheduled for, I think, for the July 2nd.
So they're done working on June 30th? Because I mean, what they've got, they're working on the Marina View.
Yeah.
I presume that would stop on June 30th until they got permission? Okay.
Yeah, but they were only asking for fall.
Yeah,
They were planning on that
talking about
anyway.
fall issues.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why he didn't make it last meeting. I don't know if there's any rush to make it this meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just wondering if it's, we've got a meeting, no, we'll just keep going.
Oh,
No.
No.
Well, I have a question on that, and maybe it's changed, or maybe it's going to change with discussions, but my recollection was one of the last things Zeke had mentioned is that with the new sidewalks and streets and all that, he said, if anybody sees him running the heavy equipment over the brand-new sidewalk and streets, let the office.
it's in the development agreement, that
That
if
if-
they ruin
Okay.
a section,
Okay.
they must replace it all.
Okay. I
Because
thought
we
were
weren't
talking
gonna
about
have it
going on,
patched.
right, going off of Sunset, and now they've curtained it off that they can't, and they're running all the 10-wheelers full of product on the brand-new apron.
Yeah, because it's private property on Sunset, so they couldn't go across there. They were
Oh.
hoping they could work out an agreement. but
Oh, I thought they did.
They did not.
Ah,
That's
wonderful.
the issue.
Got it. Okay, answers that question.
But we're covered.
Okay.
Personnel. Hasn't met.
We'll be meeting next Monday at 2:00. All closed session.
No,
No?
There's-
two open session items.
Oh, okay. I was unaware.
It shouldn't take very long.
Okay.
Planning Commission.
Any questions on the minutes?
Nope.
SBAA.
I was very impressed with Drew and the team members. First meeting that I was in, and Louise obviously does a fabulous job. Thought the one item of particular interest was the rep from Country Walk, and that's how they refer to themselves as a subset organization, Country Walk. Quite frankly, was a bit of a broken record, repetitively asking what SBAA would do for Country Walk, particularly around Fall Fest. And I thought Drew and several other members of the committee were masterful in the way they really brought it out and explained to her that, you need to be broaching that subject as far as, what can Country Walk do together as your organization, and, what can you bring to SBAA? Got them steered in what hopefully is a direction toward that. It led to them, multiple people who are on SBAA and them all discussing Fall Fest in particular, and the idea came up about a Ferris wheel, to look at putting a Ferris wheel in Country Walk, picture opportunities from up top, et cetera. And then SBA left it for the Country Walk member to, okay, take that idea back then, and then the next time we get together, or before, let us know what your plans are, and we'll see where we can go from there. So we'll see if they continue onward with that. I would just mention, it's not on the agenda, or not listed on your day, but for Youth Center. Had an initial meeting and follow-up with Gibraltar School personnel. They're very excited about the opportunity for the Youth Center starting up again, particularly in winter when the gym is taken up with athletics. And that would be more the time when lack of outdoor activity, they'd like to see something happen. They're willing to do everything possible to promote it within the school in any way they can market it or advertise it for us. I've got the various people to follow up with when school begins again on that. And I also broached that topic with Louise as how we could maybe, especially in the winter, kind of partner with her and SBAA. One of the things that we came up with was, if this Legos in the Park situation is a success, and if we develop some relationships with the people, getting involved in that we could, have an event like that in the wintertime that the school would market, et cetera, and go from there. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay, great. Let me point out that last month we had their minutes and we had their financial update. If you want to, the financials that we approved tonight, their quarterly payment that we approved showed up in the financials as a result of that. Tourism zone,
Meetings this week.
utilities.
Meeting last week, everything's moving along nicely. Mike's running a good ship. And one of the items on the agenda we approved tonight, the water system impact. Questions?
And the TIP joint review board minutes are also in there.
All right, discussion regarding matters we place a future agenda referred to committee official or employee. Other than what we already have down.
It's item 4, again, the revoting ordinance 251.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't hear anything to be referred to a committee tonight. Already has been, so, okay. All right, so we will then consider a motion to convene an executive session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.851G to confer with legal counsel to the governmental body who is running oral written advice concerning the strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or likely to become involved in Wisconsin statutes 19.851E, to deliberate or negotiate the purchase of public property, investment of public funds, or conduct other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session. Motion by Lino.
Second.
Roll call. Lino, yes.
Berto, yes?
Duffy, yes?
Bell, yes.
Sashki, yes.
Baker, yes?
We're now in closed session. We will recess for 5 minutes, give everybody a chance to pack up.